Alright guys, we are back in my garage for another video, and today we are going to be talking about the newly released Velossa Tech Big Mouth intake scoop. And this is a really cool piece that's designed to be functional as well as give your car a really unique look so that it stands out from the crowd. I was actually selected by the Velossa Tech team to test out the new Big Mouth intake scoop on my 340i. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to install it on your car. We're going to go over some of the data that I was able to gather before and after installing the intake scoop. And then I'll try to answer some questions that you guys might have in case you're interested in going this route. So hopefully you find this video useful. Now, as always, for everybody that's new to the channel, I create these videos to help keep you updated on the latest developments in our community, as well as discuss technical topics so that we have a better understanding of how our engines work. So if you're interested in more videos like that, be sure to subscribe because there will be a lot more coming out in the future. Now, before we jump into things, first I want to remind you guys that if you are watching this video, the Big Mouth that I was testing has been given away to one of my channel members. If you guys are interested in joining the channel, you can check out the link down in the description. All funds that are raised from channel memberships are used to buy parts and support testing to create future content. And once the parts are tested, I give away the parts to one of my channel members. So again, if you're interested in joining the channel and potentially winning some cool parts as a way for me to say thank you for supporting my content, definitely check out the link in the description to become a channel member today. So today's product that we're actually talking about is coming from Velossa Tech, and this company has been in business for a while now. You guys might be familiar with them because they actually make parts for several different platforms. You can scroll through their social media feed and see all the different cars that they build these intake scoops for, including the A90 Supra, which has been out for a little while now, and they are finally releasing their product offering for the 3 Series. Now keep in mind, this is currently only available for the 3 Series fitment, so like F30 and F31 3 Series. If you have a 4 Series or a 2 Series, it might physically fit and bolt up, but you can see from this example where I mounted it on my 4 Series, it doesn't quite line up with the shape of the grille as well as it does on an actual 3 Series. So in my opinion, if you have a different model, I would recommend just waiting. They are working on building these for different vehicles in the future, so just try to be patient if you can, and hopefully they will build one specifically for your car soon. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. So basically you can see this is all one solid piece of plastic. It's actually designed to basically direct the airflow from the front of your car over into the area where your intake is already sucking in air behind your grill. So it kind of mounts like this, and you can see where the airflow goes in, and then it comes out on this side. Now it does mount on both sides to make it symmetrical. We only have an intake on the passenger side of our cars, but you basically install one on the left and one on the right just so that it looks symmetrical and it looks a little bit cooler. But it's a pretty slick piece, designed with optimal airflow in mind. And then of course you've got the big mouth on the front, as they call it. You can get it in a bunch of different colors. Mine is red because the interior on my car is red, so this was the one that we went with, but they've got them in blue, purple, green, all different colors, and they've got a light up version. So if you want one that lights up and you can change the colors on that as well, that's a pretty slick piece that you can wire up to your car and just give it like a really unique look. So yeah, and you can see here's the logo. So this isn't just some off-the-shelf part that's kind of rebranded. This is something that they literally designed in-house and are making this specifically for the 3 Series. So now let's take a look at installing it on my car, and it's actually a pretty simple process. The first thing that you're going to do is remove the weather stripping from on top of the bumper, and then there are 8 screws that you're going to remove. The 6 screws in the middle are T30s, and the 2 screws on the outside over the headlights are T25s. So you're going to remove all of those screws one by one, and then you're going to pull back on the bumper and pull back enough so that you can reach your hand in there. It's kind of hard to see in this image since I can't really pull the bumper all the way off with one hand. But if you use 2 hands, you can basically peel the top of the bumper cover back and stick your hand behind the grill so that you can actually push each of the tabs to safely pop your grill out. Now, once you've removed your grill, it's actually really easy to install. You basically start it at a 90-degree angle and just rotate it in. It kind of twists in and lands right on top of that V-brace. And it's going to mount to the V-brace itself. So there's a little bracket that you're going to mount underneath. And then you have two screws that will actually screw into the intake scoop to mount it and hold it securely onto the V-brace. And this also allows you to rotate it a little bit so that you can line it up perfectly so that it's facing the front of your car and lined up with the shape of your grill. Now, if you saw those last couple clips, you might notice the scenery changed. And those are actually clips from when I was originally installing it to test it on my car. I've actually had it on my 340i for several weeks now. And what I decided was, since it's so easy to install, I can basically run some logs with a completely stock intake system and then install this in a parking lot, get right back on the highway and do some more logs. So I actually did testing with like a 20-minute break in between to try to gather data on how the actual intake scoop changed the performance of my car. Now, the good news is we were able to see some measurable gains in the logs. You can actually see the data on their website. Again, I'll have the link down in the description if you're looking for more information or you want to buy. But you can see that the actual mass airflow that was coming into the intake was increased. And this makes sense because the intake scoop is facing the front of your car. Even though the stock intake is already technically a cold air intake because it's pulling from behind the grill area, having that intake scoop facing the front of the car creates a real ram air effect. So the air is being forced into the intake, and the faster you go, the more air is getting pushed in there. So you can actually see that in the logs. And we were also able to see a slight reduction in the charge air temps. And the charge air temps is the measurement of the air coming out of the turbo before it goes into the intercooler. So I think this is a really good example to demonstrate how this increases the efficiency of your turbo. Because with the ram air coming in and forcing air into the turbo, you don't have to make as much boost to make the same amount of power. So the turbo actually can run more efficiently and does less work to make the same power. So it was pretty cool to see, if you guys understand how our engine tuning works, it generally targets a certain amount of load and torque. So it can adjust boost on the fly based on, your air temperature and your fuel quality and things like that. And so this was one aspect where we could see it seemed like the car was automatically adjusting for the extra airflow it's seeing. Now, just to be completely level with you guys, this obviously did not drop my draggy times by like a half second or something like that. But you should note that my car is a simple stage 1 tune, just a 93 octane map. I'm making around maybe 400 wheel horsepower. If you're making any more power than me, generating any more heat, pushing your turbo any harder than me, the gains should be larger. So if you think of it as like a percentage improvement, you're going to see a much bigger improvement when you're pushing a stock turbo harder, and definitely as you're pushing a bigger turbo that runs an intake that pulls air from the same stock location. Also keep in mind that this is something that just overall increases your headroom. So if you're pushing your car really hard, your wastegate duty cycle is getting high, your IATs are getting high, this is something that can help raise that upper limit so that your car doesn't have to work as hard to make the same amount of power. This isn't something that's suddenly going to turn your stock turbo car into like an 8-second rocket, but it is something that just increases the efficiency of your car, helps your turbo last longer, generates less heat, and overall it's just better for the efficiency of your vehicle. And then of course you got the looks. I mean, I think that's what most people are drawn to right away. I think it really does look cool from the front of the engine, and normally I'm not something to do like really flashy mods like this. Pretty much all my cars are black cars with dark grills and pretty like subdued looks. But this was the first time that I really noticed my car and other people's reflections, because even during the day, if I pulled up behind somebody's trunk, I could see the bright red intake scoops like in my grill being reflected off of their hatch. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think this is just a really cool piece that was designed with both looks and performance in mind. It's really hard to beat. This definitely appears to be the largest intake scoop on the market. It's literally directly in the path of airflow that's coming into your grill. So it's kind of hard to beat it all around. If you guys aren't interested in buying, I will have a link down in the description where you can check out more information, including the data from my car when I was logging before and after. It also shows some more pics and more information about the parts. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.